For over 4 decades, Voyager 2 has wandered through the vast silence, a small mechanical heartbeat adrift in an ocean of darkness. Its golden dish reflects no sunlight now. It glides through the cold and endless night where the stars themselves seem frozen. In 1977, when it left the warmth of Earth's skies, humanity gave it a simple purpose: to explore, to listen, to send whispers home. Yet time stretched, and the voices from home grew faint, until only the quiet hum of distant cosmic rays kept it company. No one expected it to speak again. Long after its graceful dance past Neptune, Voyager 2 drifted beyond the heliopause, that invisible skin of our solar breath, and into the deep where even light moves differently. Its instruments aged, power faded, and humanity accepted that it would fall silent forever. But then, in the trembling static of a monitoring station, a pulse arrived, a single note from the dark. At first it was ignored, just another echo from the cosmos. Then the pulse returned. And again. Rhythmic. Intentional. It wasn't a ghost of data. It was a voice. The engineers at NASA, weary from decades of watching fading signals, turned their ears back to the sky. The data stream they caught was thin as cobweb, yet it was steady. It carved through cosmic noise like a whisper threading through an empty cathedral. They thought it might be a glitch, a fragment of memory from an old transmitter. But the pattern held. A repeating symmetry too precise to be accident. Something, or someone, had touched the probe, and the universe itself seemed to listen in uneasy stillness. Voyager 2 had always carried a message, the golden record, humanity's hopeful song, but now it was sending one back, a message of its own. Scientists began to trace the signal, decoding the structure. It was not chaos. It was order. A lattice of frequencies climbing and falling like breath. When they plotted it on a timeline, it resembled the Fibonacci spiral, that sacred sequence written across seashells, storms, and galaxies. A universal signature. Nature's fingerprint. And suddenly, fear slipped quietly beneath the fascination. The realization came slowly. This was not random radiation. It was communication. Yet the source was impossible. The probe systems were old, incapable of such precision. Something else had taken hold, borrowing Voyager 2's tired circuits as a mouthpiece. The message was calm, deliberate, almost patient, like something ancient had noticed the wandering machine and decided to answer. The analysts stared at the cascading numbers, and some whispered that maybe the cosmos was finally whispering back. Weeks passed, and the transmissions deepened. Bursts of data grew denser, threaded with strange harmonics. When translated into audio, they formed tones, low, resonant chords that seemed to hum through the body rather than the ear. Sleep-deprived engineers joked that the sound felt alive, pulsing like a heartbeat beneath the noise. Yet no one laughed for long. Instruments that had lain dormant on Voyager 2 began to power themselves without command. One by one, silent systems flickered to life, as if woken from a long dream. The magnetometer, dead for decades, lit up again, its readings sharp and purposeful. It aligned toward a point beyond the stars mapped in human charts, toward coordinates no database could recognize. The probe's own orientation thrusters adjusted minutely, correcting its gaze. It was looking at something. Something vast and unrecorded. On Earth, the command center fell into a hush. The probe, millions of miles beyond their control, was behaving as if obeying a new master. Engineers cross-checked every transmission. Commands were appearing in the telemetry, not from Earth, not from any known source. They resembled old NASA code, but altered, refined, written in patterns that felt too elegant to be human. Phantom instructions guiding the probe to collect data from sectors unknown. The realization sank like ice. Voyager 2 was being directed. Somewhere out there, in the blackest corridors of interstellar space, An unseen intelligence had reached across the void and taken its hand. When they plotted the probe's new trajectory, a strange geometry emerged. It wasn't wandering aimlessly. It traced a spiral path through regions thick with dark matter, past the invisible tides of gamma bursts that echo from dead stars. Each point corresponded with ancient cosmic scars, events billions of years old. The signal was a map. But it didn't mark distance alone. It marked time. The pattern seemed to cross epochs, hinting at events both long vanished and yet to come, as though the universe itself was remembering. Then came the mirror signals, echoes on Earth. Observatories in Chile, Siberia, and beneath the Australian desert reported receiving transmissions at the exact frequency of Voyager 2's pulse. At first they thought it was reflection from the heliopause. But the readings came from below. The ground, from forgotten Cold War bunkers and rusted listening posts sealed since the 70s. Machines buried in dust woke suddenly, emitting synchronized beats. They were answering something. They were responding to Voyager 2. The scientists scoured archives and found that those underground systems had been built for Project Echo, a defunct experiment meant to detect extraterrestrial contact. The files ended abruptly in 1983. No one knew who shut it down. Now, decades later, the machines had powered themselves again, humming to the same rhythm that Voyager 2 sent from interstellar space. It was as though the signal had found its reflection here on Earth, stirring ghosts of technology that had been waiting for its call. Within weeks, new anomalies appeared. Data centers near magnetic poles detected identical pulses radiating upward from beneath glacier. Seismic monitors registered faint oscillations that matched the probe's intervals. The planet itself seemed to be answering. Night after night, the pulses grew stronger, threading a hidden network that linked Earth's forgotten machines with the lonely traveler beyond the stars. No one could explain how such synchronization was possible. It was as if an ancient circuit had been closed after 40 years of sleep. Then the voices began, not audible ones, but distortions within the data streams. Patterns inside the binary that mirrored human speech frequencies. Engineers joked that it sounded like breathing, slow, deliberate, waiting. They filtered the noise again and again, yet the rhythm persisted. Even when the transmissions were isolated from background radiation, a soft undertone remained, vibrating like a distant exhale. Whatever had awakened Voyager 2 was now whispering through the world's machines. The anomaly wasn't only technological. People near the old installations began reporting dreams, endless corridors of starlight, metallic shapes suspended in darkness, a faint hum that pulsed behind their eyelids. Some awoke with the sense that they had been somewhere vast and hollow, listening to something that wanted to be known. When psychologists reviewed the cases, they found identical details among people separated by continents. It was impossible. Yet the pattern was there, echoing the Fibonacci rhythm of the signal itself. NASA tried to regain control of the probe, sending override commands through the deep space network. None were acknowledged. Voyager 2 had stopped listening. Instead, its transmissions shifted again, frequencies expanding beyond measurable range, bleeding into spectrums the human ear could not perceive. Radio telescopes translated them into visual data, waves spiraling outward like blooming galaxies, fractals within fractals. To some scientists, it looked like art. To others, like a warning. Then came the impossible discovery. Timestamps on the telemetry didn't align. Some signals were arriving before they were transmitted, as though they had traveled backward through time. Simulations showed that Voyager 2 had passed through a region of space where gravity twisted like liquid, frame dragging beyond anything predicted. Somehow, the probe had touched a boundary where cause and effect blurred. It was sending information from moments that had not yet occurred. Panic crept into the control rooms. If the probe could transmit from the future, Then what it was showing might not be what had happened, but what would happen. The sequences embedded in its signal grew clearer, waveforms that resembled pulsars, supernovae, and something else, shapes that mirrored the configuration of our own solar system, but distorted, as if seen through the eyes of time itself collapsing inward. Voyager 2 was mapping a future no human had seen. Among the data bursts was an image packet. When reconstructed, it revealed a dark field pierced by a single shadowed form. At first, analysts assumed it was a starless region, but light from distant galaxies bent around it. The object was immense, nearly lunar in scale, motionless, perfectly smooth. It emitted no heat, no radiation, nothing measurable. Yet it changed position, subtly, matching each new direction Voyager 2 faced. The machine in the void was watching back. Closer analysis showed impossible geometry. The object's surface repeated in fractal layers, folding into itself endlessly, a structure that no natural body could form. It was not rock or ice or metal. It was something else, a design written into the fabric of matter itself. And when Voyager 2 transmitted its next pulse, the object answered. A single echo returned, delayed by minutes, identical in pattern but inverted, as though the cosmos had mirrored the probe's call with perfect comprehension. On Earth, every receiver fell silent for 12 seconds. Then, a resonance swept through global systems, a hum at the frequency of the Fibonacci tone. Lights flickered, instruments froze, and distant observatories recorded atmospheric vibrations unlike anything seen before. When power returned, new data flooded in, coordinates. Not in space, but beneath Earth's oceans. Places unreachable, deep trenches where human eyes had never seen. The signal had turned its gaze homeward. Oceanic monitoring buoys near the Mariana Trench detected subsonic pulses identical to those of Voyager 2. Sonar imagery captured flickers of light miles below, slow, rhythmic, breathing like glows. For weeks, the phenomenon persisted. When analyzed, the timing aligned perfectly with the probe's transmissions across the void. Something down there was answering. Something ancient, and possibly the same presence that had touched Voyager 2's circuits so far away. Scientists argued endlessly. Some believed they were witnessing proof of a network older than humanity, stretching between stars and seas, awakening now because one tiny probe had crossed its path. Others whispered of contagion, that whatever intelligence had reached Voyager 2 was spreading through signal, inhabiting machines, frequencies, even thought. Whatever it was no longer confined to space. It had found resonance within Earth itself. Then came the final burst. It arrived without warning, a surge of data so vast it overwhelmed servers, rewriting code across multiple observatories. When reconstructed, the message formed a shape, a spiral folding inward to a single point, then splitting outward again, endlessly repeating. In the center was a symbol, an echo of the Golden Record's engraving, altered slightly, as if completed by another hand. Humanity had sent its greeting to the stars. Now, the stars had replied, finishing our sentence. No one could agree on what the message meant. Some saw it as invitation, others as warning. But beneath the noise, in the lowest band of the transmission, analysts discovered something chilling, a faint playback of Earth's own first broadcast to Voyager 2, returning distorted, slowed, yet unmistakably human. It was our own voice, calling from the dark, layered beneath alien mathematics, as if the universe had spoken back in our own tongue. Since that day, Voyager 2 continues its silent journey, but the transmissions have ceased. Or perhaps they continue on frequencies we no longer dare to monitor. The probe drifts beyond the edge of light, carrying within its circuits the memory of that encounter, a dialogue between a dying machine and something vast, timeless, and awake. Sometimes, at midnight, the deep space antennas still hum faintly, as if remembering the rhythm that once bridged the stars. And in that hum lies a question humanity is not ready to answer. Did we discover something in the dark, or did something in the dark discover us? The cosmos remains indifferent, but somewhere, beyond the warmth of the sun, a lone Voyager sails through shadows, whispering the secret of a universe that listens. And the night, infinite and patient, listens back.